All right, guys, we are back again. I have moved outside because it feels amazing out here. So I'm going to finish reading chapter 12 because it got cut off at the end of the last recording. I apologize. I'm not really sure what happened, but it did. So we're going to finish chapter 12 and then we'll start chapter 13. So, chapter 12, finishing up. The ride home was itchy and hot. Jessie had sand in all the places where her skin rubbed together, between her toes, between her ears, and between the cheeks on her bottom. Somehow, she'd gotten sunburned on her back, even though Mrs. Moriarty had smeared all over her with thick, goopy sunscreen twice. Jessie didn't have the patience for 10 questions, let alone 20. But Megan didn't get that Jessie didn't feel like talking. She kept trying to get her to take a quiz in a teen magazine. If Evan had been there, he would have kept quiet, or maybe hummed a little. Jessie liked it when Evan hummed. As they turned onto Damon Road, Megan asked, "Are you feeling sick?" In fact, she was. For the past half hour, Jessie had been imagining walking in the door and facing Evan, and she'd been feeling sicker and sicker with every mile that brought her closer to home. All right, that's the end of chapter 12. So we're going to start with chapter 13. This is crisis management. All right, crisis management. Special or extraordinary measures and procedures used when a business is in danger of failing. So they got to do everything they can to not let the business fail. Sucker! Oh man, you were schooled. Preschool baby. For the third time that afternoon, Scott Spencer had gotten the drop on Evan, dribbling around him and then hitting the easy layup. So the guys were giving him the business, even the ones on his team. It was Evan, Paul, and Ryan against Kevin, Toomey, Malik, Lewis, and Scott. Evan wished Scott hadn't shown up, but he had, and they had needed the sixth guy for 3-on-3 since Jack had gone home to ask his mom if they could all swim at his house. So what was Evan supposed to say? Anyway, Evan was 3 times the ball handler that Scott was, and everybody knew it. So, it was all fun. But it didn't feel like much fun to Evan. "What's up, man?" Paul asked. Evan dribbled the ball back and forth, left-handed, right-handed, and through his legs. "Hey, it's hot out," he said. "Yeah, it's hot for all of us," said Paul. "Get your game on, dude." But Evan couldn't get his moves right. He was a half a step behind himself, and every time he moved, the envelope slapped against his thigh like a reprimand. "Speaking of hot," said Ryan. Everyone turned to look. Jack was coming up the path, running up at dead dog speed. "Oh, please, God," said Paul. "Let her have said yes. Please, please, please." As soon as he was in range, Jack shouted, "She said yes!" "What's up?" asked Scott. "Jack asked his mom if we could all go swimming in his pool," Kevin said. "Hey, Jack!" Scott shouted. "Can I come too?" "Yeah, sure," said Jack, who'd stopped running toward them and was waiting for them to join him on the path. Oh, great, thought Evan. But he wasn't about to turn down a dunk in a pool just because Scott Spencer would be there. Nobody wanted to go home for suits and towels. Kevin, Malik, and Ryan were wearing basketball shorts anyway, so they could swim in those. "We've got enough swimsuits at the house," said Jack. "My mom saves all her old ones." At the house, Evan changed into one of Jack's suits. He wrapped up in his underwear and his shirt inside his shorts and put the bundle of clothes on the end of Jack's bed next to all the other guys' piled up clothes. It felt good to drop the heavy shorts with that envelope stuffed in his pocket. Then, just to be sure, he put his shoes on top of his pile of clothes. He did not want anything to happen to that money. Remember, that's Jessie's money. They played pool basketball all afternoon, even though the teams weren't even. Mrs. Bagdasarian brought out drinks and cookies and chips and sliced up watermelon. Every time one of them went into the house to use the bathroom, she shouted, "Dry off before you come in!" But she did it in a nice way. Then, just when Evan thought the afternoon couldn't get any better, it did. Scott had gone into the house to go into the bathroom. A few minutes later, he came out dressed, his hair still dripping wet. "I gotta go," he said, jamming his foot into a sneaker. "Did your mom call?" "Nope, I just gotta go," he said. "See ya." And he ran out the gate. "Great," shouted Evan. "Now the teams are even." And they went back to playing pool hoops. Evan didn't think about Scott Spencer for the rest of that afternoon. He didn't think about Scott Spencer until he went into Jack's bedroom to change back into his clothes and noticed that his shoes were on the floor and his shorts were not folded up anymore. All right, it's the end of chapter 13, and we'll read the last chapter tomorrow. Bye, guys.